our front window like a shadow. I was immobile on the couch, and you were gathering your things when he knocked. 3 brisk beats. You opened the door and fell into his hug. I was open and waiting like a saintly statue. I rose and greeted him. I hugged you, and the two of you slipped away to Houston and bigger clouds. I was 10 when I had my first thought of death. I was with my friend in his home, and we spoke of childhood ephemera and bouts of strange existentialism that harangued his young mind. I used to cry at night because my dad is going to die. My chest skipped a beat, and I knew the feeling he was describing, being a neurotic child myself. But I did not want to admit that I knew of the hollowness he was speaking from. I had explored the same spot in my own soul. I never brought it up, and I wanted to prod, to excavate in someone else the same voidful melancholy that echoed in my night's mind when I fought off sleep in search of something unthinkable. So I played ignorant, not wanting to speak any authenticity he was dredging. Why is your dad going to die? He shrugs. We all die. A fat stone sunk into my hiddenmost bowels. He spoke spark into a cave I didn't dare to whisper in, and a gush of flame made my ears hot. It felt blasphemous the way he could deal in these secrets so readily. We were kids. We couldn't talk about these things. I fished around these thoughts, and felt an involuntary tug of retreat, and I fought it. Well, what can you do about it? Acting more mature, unsettled. He shrugs again. Memories like that fade more every day. Left with a long hug, off to rehearse. I closed the door on myself and sunk back into the leather cushions. A kid once more. Flame in my belly making my ears tingle again. Only this time with more experience with the tragic. I've met death since I was 10. Have seen it in more forms than just in my head. Death doesn't wait. Or more appropriately, the world doesn't wait in the wake of death. The coal keeps burning and the wheels keep turning and the smoke billowing, and death doesn't give you reprieve. The second time I thought about death, I knew his face. I was around 12. My aunt was due to induce her second son in 3 days. She was in for her last checkup before the big day. I named the baby Missouri. I held the older brother in my arms, swaddled the day he was born in Colorado Springs. That was around 3 years prior. I was in the back seat of my mother's car on the way to my aunt's home to see her after her last checkup. My cousin was in the passenger seat. She was excited to be a big sister yet again. We neared the house and someone's phone rang. I can't remember whose, but I do remember whoever answered it was soon unable to speak. They can't find a heartbeat. They can't find a heartbeat. They couldn't find a heartbeat, and both my mother and cousin were inconsolable. In the back seat, my head spun. I guess that was it. The rest of the day was a blur. We sped to the hospital. At the hospital, I left with my uncle, the father, a very strong man, to go to daycare. My uncle fell into and out of fits of terrible anguish. We picked up my uncle's face, a contorted, stony mask of reassurance. In the car, he let know what happened. I wish I could remember how he worded it, how he let his 3-year-old know what death was. I do not remember. We met everyone back at their house. Neighbors and friends gathered in the living room. Women wept in the center, and ashy-faced men paced around. I sat with my aunt, returned home sometime later, supported as she entered. Her plump belly now a strange sight, and that was it. On the couch, I composed myself. I set the typewriter in front of me, ready to master my emotions, and talk myself through this secondhand trauma. I didn't know how to begin. A sentence was forming in my mind, and I reached for the keys, and my throat swelled sticky, and my ears grew hot, and I moved back from the empty page, and tears fell without warning. I cried twice more after a few bouts of composing myself in front of an empty apartment, and then gave up. I didn't write anything.
I'm useless, but not for long. My future is coming on. I'm happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, but not for long. My future is coming on. I'm happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, but not for long. My future is coming on. I was kind of scared. Someone helped me over the railing. I ended up at the front. And then basically that's where the story began. And we never made it across. And we weren't ever going to make it across. And I told that. And I called her and she came back to be with me. And we weren't going to make it across, but because it was like a poor class. And they were like using us for something, but there was like really like no answer. And so we would like pretend like we would go across like every day, but we would never go, make it to the other end. And it was really scary. We'd have to do like night runs, and it would be completely pitch black. And I remember I was in front of the boat, and there was just like a light that was going around. And so every couple seconds, that's the only when we'd be able to see if there was like a cruise liner. And people would die every night. And you'd see like their bodies in the water. And I remember the light was flashing. I was waiting for it to go. And then I saw a huge ship right near us. And then I was like, how are we going to avoid this? and because it'd always be a matter if they were gonna, wreck into us or not. And it was kind of like, I guess rowing, that's how we would do it, but there weren't any oars, so I don't know how. And there was no engine either, so I really don't know how it works, but, then, I was back on the other side again, just like every night, and basically just like stuck there, and you'd see like the rich people getting on their liners and being able to make it across, and if you like tried to swim, they would like shoot you with these like these things that would like penetrate your skin and then explode from the inside.
Wow.
And I saw that like happen to one person during like the coup when we tried to like take over, and some of the rich people like finally got on our side. It was like helped save this like little rich boy from falling into the water and dying. And one of the things we had to do, which is really scary, was like hold on to these